Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. With the Vanguard beta firmly underway, many questions are being raised as to whether some of the gentlemen's agreements we've seen in previous seasons are going to be replicated here in Call of Duty Vanguard. Close to certainly implying that will not be the case for automatic tactical sprint. Very much intrigued your thoughts in the comment section below. Like if you guys enjoyed the video, subscribe if you're new as always, I would greatly appreciate it. Really up to the channel, thank you very much indeed for doing that. First of all, wanted to mention this from Sender because earlier today we had a fair bit of a discussion about exactly what's going on in that OpTic camp last season at least. I'm sure discussions on this to continue over the coming days. Thoughts on exactly what Standy was trying to do for the OpTic team, not necessarily getting listened to all the time, and how he comes out with this kind of implying, I don't know, he's just kind of minding his own business, I suppose. But still, I don't really know whether OpTic are going to keep Sender going into next year. That's kind of the whole discussion right now with this OpTic and Dallas merger, is that they've got Rambo over there as the coach of Dallas, like I guess maybe more experience and more like I guess achievements as a coach than Sender has had. Like what are they going to do? Are they going to have both of them as coaching staff? I think that would be a sensible decision, but still, it's kind of interesting one to keep your eyes on, no doubt, going forwards. And well, let's talk about the Vanguard beta as it is going on right now. Zero says, I miss the arcade shooter Call of Duty used to be. Certainly it doesn't have the feel that some of these old games have. Like I was playing Black Ops 2 last night, it's just so much good fun compared to on the Plutonium thing, compared to maybe some of these newer titles, but it's understandable that they've gone down the direction that they have, especially with the whole Warzone integration stuff. But again, for some of the OGs, it's maybe not quite what it used to be Call of Duty. And I mean this, for example, from Zactadenia. Vanguard on a PS4 is certainly not it. Seems like the frame rate, the visibility is just absolutely terrible on some of these older gen consoles. That's the thing, right? The fact that it's only on PlayStation early on. I guess the PC beta will be out relatively soon. That's going to be a massive step in the right direction. Because from what I've seen of it being played on PS4, I decided not to set the PS4 up to actually play this because I probably, well, I thought it maybe not be the best experience in the entire world. And it was Zed and even Hamza Frosty seems to share similar opinions. Don't even waste your time playing this beta on console. It is horrendous. Now, thankfully, of course, the Pro League at least is going to be playing things on PC, but not always the case for everyone. Doesn't seem best optimized, let's just say, for those previous generation consoles especially, and as Octane says, need this beta to hit PC real bad, which of course it will do in the relatively near future. But big questions being raised as to what we are going to be playing with for next year's title, because of course Tactical Sprint is back in full force as it was back in Modern Warfare, and in that title and also in this year, Automatic Sprint has been decided, well, the pros have decided to gentleman's agreement it as a setting, even though not officially, you know, banned from the rule set. We'll talk about that in a second, but as Scump says here, enjoyed day one of the Vanguard beta. Once I got the hang of things, it was pretty fun, and I saw this in Decim right here. There is no regaining from this, getting spawn trapped beyond belief on this map. So yeah, certainly people have different opinions of Vanguard. Definitely intrigued to hear your perspective on it in the comment section below. This patrol game mode is kind of interesting as well, with the hardpoint moving around the map. Something to well, we might talk about in coming days, right? And what this potential could be for competitive play at the very least. But it will still, we'll have to see what's going on there. Some talk from Sledgehammer and Charlie Intel about some of the issues with visibility, the audio problems as well, that apparently are underway of being fixed. This also was a fair bit of discussion about footstep audio, that they maybe increased it from back in the alpha. They're still very inconsistent, right? People talking, you can hear people super close range, and other times there's someone like halfway across the map that you can very much hear, but someone close to you, you can't really hear particularly well at all. So definitely some issues to be ironed out that will have impact on competitive play that we are certainly, I'm sure, going to be talking about going forwards. But this really was coming to the major discussions the last couple of years in regard to automatic tactical sprint. So effectively, you've got normal sprint, you've got, at least you've got walking normally, then you've got running or sprinting, and then you've got the tactical sprint, which is where you go super quick, like at the double sprint in effect. Now, of course, if you want a double sprint, you've got to double press the left analog stick, and that's going to make you go forwards. But in Modern Warfare, they introduced this setting, automatic tactical sprint. So all you've got to do, as soon as you push that left trigger forwards, that left thumbstick, sorry, without even pressing anything, you just go charging off into the distance. Now, a lot of pros decided this is actually not what we want to use for competitive play, because it allows players with worse movement to kind of just get a free good movement in a sense, right? If you're a really good player, you're really good on the sticks, like you can actually kind of imitate tactical sprint in a way. And some players have been accused of using it when they're not, just because, you know, they're just that good on the sticks, I suppose, and they can actually fly around corners really quick, as if they have this sprint setting enabled. So, of course, it's in this game, it's automatic tactical sprint once again, as it was in Modern Warfare. Last year's title, it was just automatic sprint, and even though people were still calling it ATS because of, I guess, habit from Modern Warfare. And there was some discussion at the start of last year between like Neptune and Crimsix that Crim thought Neptune was using it, definitely had some evidence to back that thing up, and then, you know, it was been GA'd by the pros, because as I say, like, they thought that it makes players that have worse movement, they can just get better for free in a sense, and reduces the skill gap of competitive play. So that's kind of why the pros are doing what they're doing right here, but well, certainly a fair bit of discussion on whether we are going to be using it in this year's title, because as Morg says, so are we running auto tac sprint this year? Because one of the big discussions is that it extends the lifespan of controllers. That's a big thing for, I guess, the more casual player, but for professionals, it definitely has its pros and its cons, as we've been discussing. But as Clay says in reply, yes, I am using it, like, I don't really care anymore. The gentleman's agreements we've had in the last couple of seasons, they're going out the window for Priestahh, and he's just going to go down the route of actually doing it. And well, even Standy continues along a similar vein. I'll be the one to say it. Let's use auto tactical sprint in Vanguard. So certainly a lot of people saying, look, I've had enough of this, constantly smashing my left thumbstick and destroying all my controllers after not too long. If you're doing this day in, day out, playing Call of Duty like 8+ hours a day, it's maybe something which should just be enabled. Now, this is a big discussion really in terms of gentlemen's agreements, because if you are using it, it's kind of tough to say if someone's using it guaranteed. Like, without seeing their settings, it's always been a bigger controversy really the last couple of years. Who's using it, who's not? Is someone using it like secretly without us knowing? Like Crimsix was apparently using it in scrims for like 20 maps or 20 days or something without people figuring out he was actually using it in Modern Warfare. So always some discussion on this, and maybe that the decision is really, okay, let's just allow everyone to use it, and then we don't have to worry about the whole situation and people maybe breaking the rules in that sense. So anyway, this is what Standy has to say, but Gunless is not so convinced. He comes in the reply and says, no, yeah, not happening. Like, we're just going to keep the rules that we've had the last couple of years. And as Standy says, me busting down doors with auto tactical sprints, because this of course is something that we're seeing this year returning once again. The doors, baby, they are back in business here in Vanguard. Me writing down your name to make sure you are following the rules. So yes, Gunless keeping on going with the rules from previous seasons and not having auto tac sprint enabled, but Priestahh Standy maybe implying that these GAs are going to go out the window this year. And tweeting your thoughts down below. This from Parasol as well thought was kind of interesting, talking about these weather effects that are actually contributing to some of this blur, especially on the consoles. So maybe that's one of the reasons. Haggy seems to know a thing or two about this type of stuff, so it wouldn't necessarily deny him on this issue. And I thought I'd also talk about this, because a couple of days ago, this Inside the Comms video came out from the CDL between the Atlanta FaZe and Toronto Ultra match. Thought this is kind of funny really, because Simp, whenever he's doing his YouTube videos, he's super calm, collected, like seems like such a normal, down-to-earth type guy. And then when he's playing the matches, this guy's absolutely out of control, man. He's on fire, he's firing shots all across the park. And well, we'll see in this clip right here from Inside the Comms when he's kind of calling out Bance and the guys on the other side of the stage on Toronto Ultra, and well, certainly had a few words to say. But what he goes on to say as a result of that is that, well, certainly much more interesting.
I'm nading it. Make him challenge that.
I'm watching Arcitys.
Oh my God!
He had 2 sets of streaks.
Yeah, they had a lot of streaks.
So this is what he says on the Reddit as a response to that clip that we looked at. By the way, Toronto is just about the only other team we are legitimately pretty cool with. If anyone takes in-game trash talk personal, that is on them. I doubt Ben, that being Bance, of course, cares if I'm yelling at him or not. And well, he said, Derivative says in reply here, you and Priestahh still homies. Yeah, but we don't talk that much anymore. Don't really talk to anyone in the league outside my team though, to be honest. So kind of interesting from FaZe. They don't really seem to talk to too many other people. They're relatively cool with Toronto, but the other 10 teams in the league don't necessarily get on with too well. This does add quite nicely to this kind of villain persona they've been building up, especially when they do like to shoot bodies and talk trash in these types of big matches just because of how good they are. But interesting to say, yes, Toronto, we're pretty cool with them. We get on with them quite nicely, but pretty much everyone else in the league, not necessarily. And we saw not too long ago now, I think it was the middle of the season sometime, when Slasher was still Los Angeles Thieves, they played them, it was like a checkmate control, and Simp was going around with a pistol. They were like humiliating the other team, pretty much like, eliminating them and knifing them in the back and all this type of things. Like, FaZe was just taking the mick out of Los Angeles Thieves for a time. And I do wonder whether, this kind of beef between a lot of these pro players and potentially FaZe is, well, stems from something like this, right? Because there's always been talk about Cellium snaking and stuff. And this is back in March when there was a fair bit of discussion about, Kenny and Simp and Slasher. And they're all kind of, it seemed like some of the biggest critics, really, of Cellium doing the whole snaking stuff are some of the Los Angeles Thieves guys. And maybe, well, the FaZe guys took that out on them when they played them in that match. So it seems like there's certainly some friction between a lot of the teams and Atlanta FaZe. Of course, they're minding their own business and are still ready to absolutely fry going into next year, I'm sure of it. But it does not seem like the relationships are necessarily incredibly healthy between, well, Simp and the FaZe guys and some of these other organizations, which just adds to the storylines when, well, I guess eventually someone does take them down. But a world champions for this year, no doubt about that one. I thought this was kind of funny as well, actually. Simp was doing some ratioing here on the timeline. Like, he got a video to 100,000 views. So very much congratulations on that front. Really cool to see Simp absolutely killing the content game as of late. And, well, understandably so. And he just absolutely discussed discussing your Vanguard in the clips we have seen so far from the beta. But yeah, some discussion in the replies here. You fell off so hard, bro. You're so mad. I'm a 2-time world champ MVP. You're some trash can. Keep on watching. Don't care. You have 0 rings at the moment. You know, the Mickey Mouse ring, all this type of stuff. Simp comes back in reply once again. And yeah, I mean, just keeps on going again and again and again. This guy simply cannot be stopped. And just to finish out with this with Mr. Adam Apicella, there was some talk a couple of days ago about the Call of Duty top 25 of all time list. And you know, the absolute chaos that this could cause if it was in effect. As well as Adam says right here, I can already see the censor YouTube lobbying for votes. Salty tweet to Mahagi about maybe not making it or not being where he wants to be. Nameless claiming he's underrated. Eggs and Crim complaining. And when the dust settles, Nadeshot, OpTic current 4, and Zuma being 1 all the way through 6, this would be more drama than the WWE. Certainly something I would like to see if it will Call of Duty do something similar to what Halo are doing right now, and that has certainly been pretty controversial on the timeline these last couple of days. But very much intrigued to your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, I'd greatly appreciate a like on the video. Really helps out the YouTube algorithm to know you enjoy this content. Other people like you may enjoy this content as well, and I've grown the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you for watching as always, take care, and I will see you next time.